Welcome back to our special 756 Star Wars, as if you haven't heard enough about Star Wars. No, this is good. We've got a couple new guests on for this half hour. I'd like you to meet him. They're Dean Amsler. He's the acting president of the Greater Rochester Area Star Wars Fan Club. And Mark Dupre, who is an adjunct professor at RIT, a professor of film studies. Do I have that right? Okay.
Close enough.
Also a pastor.
Also a pastor.
Okay, this is interesting. Now, these little toys here over here, well, they're not all toys.
Not all toys.
This is just a small, tiny, tiny speck.
Right.
Because you also have a huge collection.
Yeah, not as impressive as Randy's, but it's coming along nicely. Yeah, it's coming along nicely.
I saw your collection at the Star Wars Fan Club meeting, because it takes place in your huge loft with all your stuff in it.
It did.
And it did. Oh, it's going to be moving.
Yeah, we've acquired quite a few new members on account of the Tinseltown camp for tickets. Yeah.
How many new members do you think you?
I would say we probably tripled the size of the club, just from being there.
So there'd be about 30 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean that's definite sign-ons. You know, people who are going to be attending from now on.
Yeah, that's a little large for your place.
Yeah.
So we got to get more.
We're moving on.
Professional now.
Yeah. We're going to be having it in a different location now. On the 29th of this coming month, we're going to do something at noon, Millennium, in Henrietta. It's the place that used to be Crazy Igor's.
Oh, okay.
Town Line Plaza. They're allowing us to come in and conduct our meetings there. And
oh, okay, good.
It's going to be a big meet and greet. All the new members, people interested in coming out, can join us noon there on the 29th.
And these people are serious. I want these are their newsletters, the Comlink.
Some of them that we produced.
I read some of it, but I got a little bogged down because it's just it's such a focus.
Yeah, it's wordy for the non-Star Wars enthusiasts, to be sure.
But it's fun for the Star Wars enthusiasts because you've got people that feel the same way you do.
Oh yeah. And it's something we all contribute to equally. So it's a shared wealth of information.
Well, you guys are so equal. I didn't know if you actually had a title or not.
Yeah,
because,
it's been bestowed upon me.
Now we've got about, it's less than 4.5 hours now until and are you going tonight?
I'll be there.
Are you going to be there tonight?
I won't be there.
You will not be there
for a little while yet, no.
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks or something.
When the hype passes, yeah. When I don't have to wait for hours in line.
Now, how do you feel? Now, I just want you to know that this guy had other opinions that we didn't get to use in the story, but how do you feel about the Star Wars trilogy, looking back on it?
Well, I have to wear two hats, in looking at it. As films, they're very interesting. I agree with Bill that the special effects kind of took over.
But you liked them, didn't you?
I liked them. I like Empire Strikes Back the best.
That seems to be
the first one had a rollicking quality. What I really liked about it was that the special effects were thrown away. There was a fun narrative that went all the way through. There were all these old-fashioned movie serial things going on, strong characters, even though they weren't developed a lot, that you could identify with them. But I thought the special effects have gotten in the way, and the extra costumes and characters have gotten in the way. So I like them. I would never call myself an enthusiast. I mean, I really had to sort of see these all again just to be able to speak intelligently about them. I've only seen them once or twice.
Do you use them in your classes? You teach American film.
Right. I discuss them as the blockbuster, the arrival of the blockbuster, nostalgia going back to a more innocent age. I mean, there's a lot of things that the movies address. There's several things that it don't. The movies don't address. The religious element is rather a new thing in Western film, so we discussed that as well.
I want to talk about that too. We have a couple callers. Dave, and we'll get back to that because that's kind of heavy. Dave from Pittsburgh, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
How long have you all been collecting Star Wars memorabilia?
Gee, I collected it back when the originals were first out. I was getting the toys as a kid would back in those days.
Because you were about 7 or 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8 at the time. And then after the films came and went, the enthusiasm waned. Over the years, I got another interest.
That's what I hear too, especially in the teenage years. A lot of times,
because there was
girls, cars, whatever, usual.
There was a time between the films and the current film, 16 years in fact, where except for some novels which were well crafted and well written by a lot of different authors, there wasn't really a lot to support the enthusiast, and it kind of died off. A lot of people got passive about it. People who were smart along the way managed to pick up the collections and whatnot that everybody was selling off.
Nobody wanted them.
I didn't do that. I collected while I was a child. Got into other interests in the interim in my teen years, pursued my career throughout. And then with the reintroduction of the toy lines back in '95, reacquired.
Oh, that's when you got back into it?
I reacquired the passion. I used to have dreams after I stopped collecting the toys. Literally, I used to have dreams about them coming back out. And when they did, I just dived into the pool, head first.
Oh, my goodness.
And, it was, to me, just having the items from the film, those memorabilia pieces, made it tangible to me, made it a real thing and not just an image on a screen glittering back at me.
What do you think of the collecting thing?
Well, if it's a hobby, that's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a hobby. All boys, all men are boys, really, and we all have our things that we play with. So that's fine. I think the concern that I have is that it is a total world, as I mentioned in that first clip, that he's created, and it's easy to jump into and say, I want to be a part of that world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interesting things. It does ring some bells inside of you. I can be a boy again playing on the hill with my G.I. Joe, and that's fine. But I think there is an element of fantasy that you could really get into, and I personally think, I'm a father of 3, 2, and one of my sons is named Ben. It's nothing to do with the movie.
That's what you say.
Yeah, absolutely. I stand by it. I guess I feel I'm the parent that sort of has to warn people against the fantasy aspect of it, because you can jump in. There's this whole world. And
do you mean you feel as if it could be dangerous, like
I do.
A cult kind of thing?
Well, absolutely, and I think
very
it's
nice
borderline.
people.
Yeah, they are, and they look relatively harmless. But there's a certain amount of hours that we all have in our lives, and it concerns me. I just hope as a person and as a pastor, when I see anybody take a hobby grows into an obsession, no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love film. I agree with Bill. When people get excited about certain films, that excites me. When my students get excited about older American films, that excites me too. So in principle, it seems fine, but there is an element of fantasy attached to these, and so I would want to see this film before I would recommend it to certain ages and under, and also because of the religious element of it, I would want to guide my children and anybody that wants to talk to me about that through this and say, this is what we believe, this is what Lucas is putting forth here, here's the
you
difference.
Mean the force. You're talking about the force.
That whole force thing that he's throwing at us.
You don't think people are really taking it as a religion?
Well, there's an undercurrent of that all the way through. Lucas is very clear that he's presenting a religious body of thought. It's kind of mushy, so it's easy for everybody to read what they want to read into it.
And it is very attractive.
It's very attractive.
I don't know what, it's just so powerful, and it's so,
It's the flash and the dazzle of Hollywood, it's the way the medium's presented. It's not the message so much, I think, anymore as it is the medium. As Bill said, the special effects and the wow of films today have taken a back seat to a lot of the storyline.
So you can say that, but yet again,
yeah.
You waited.
Oh, because I am a film
slept
enthusiast.
in your car for 6 nights to get a ticket.
Just for the tickets, but
But you know what I didn't understand? And I didn't understand why somebody would do that, because the film is going to be the same experience if you're there at 12:01 tonight, tomorrow morning, or if you see it 3 months from now. But it's not going to be. The experience is, the people that are going to see it tonight, the vibes in that room are going to be amazing.
Oh, like I mentioned, just being in the line, camping at Tinseltown, I met so many people who are like-minded, yet who are individuals and have different aspirations and different stories to tell, different dreams. I met a lot of great people who I'm sure I'll be friends with these people long after the film has come and gone. I've made,
lots of
new
friends.
acquaintances. Right.
We have another caller. Patrick? Patrick, are you still there?
Yes.
Oh, thanks for waiting.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I have a couple comments first. First off, I see Mr. Klein's not there, but Mr. Dupre, I hope I didn't hack your name.
No, that's right.
First off, these movies, Lucas said in some interviews that these movies that he made, even the first one, were just geared towards the 8 to 15-year-old right off the bat. If you're going in looking for Good Will Hunting, I'm afraid you're going to the wrong movie. And second, character development. Between the first, second, and third movies, there was a lot of character development. From the first movie, you see starry-eyed Luke, to the second movie, where you see a little more battle-intelligent Luke. Han Solo's changed a lot. You see he's got more caring respect for the rebellion. Vader has gone from being just an overlord to even more powerful, to, by the third movie, he's driven to reunite with his son. There's a lot of character development in these movies. Even for those of us that have seen it 300 times or so, to those that have seen it once. And,
Chris, why aren't you out in line?
well, I'm into it, but I'm not going to fight with the rest of everybody else to get tickets.
What? I'm sorry, I didn't miss what he said.
He wasn't going to
He was
fight.
going to fight.
Oh,
to get
okay.
the tickets.
Well, thanks for your comments. It
Well,
sounds like they were directed towards you.
Yeah, I agree that there is a degree of character development in there. It's sort of glorified comic book, and there's nothing wrong with that
I love
as a
comic
kind
books.
of film.
Yeah.
And yes, he is gearing it towards a certain youthful audience, which doesn't mean it's any less or more. I'm not looking for Good Will Hunting or anything like that when I see that. The first Star Wars was exhilarating to me as a fun experience. I did love the fact that I saw all these old westerns, The Wizard of Oz, Howard Hawks movies, all these things thrown into the mix, all these Flash Gordon serials, and this throwaway quality to the special effects where he didn't dwell on them, but just kept the narrative flowing. So it's a cultural and a fun movie experience in terms of the film as film. The character development is fine. It follows an arc that's fairly normal. It's not deep, but I'm not looking for it to be deep. But the religious elements of it are echoing on deep, genuine concerns that mean a lot to me, and I think mean a lot to a lot of parents. So that's an element where I can't just say these are just little tiny harmless cartoon films.
Huh. You know what when we talked weeks ago about this, you brought up the fact, and I didn't even realize this, but that Star Wars is really the modern Western.
Oh, very much so.
And you said he actually used...
Oh, yeah. There's the scene where Luke comes back and sees that his aunt and uncle have been destroyed is lifted right out of The Searchers, which is a John Ford film with John Wayne in it.
But
he acknowledges that.
Anymore,
well, we do. And what we used to do was look back at the Western as an explanation of how we got to be where we are, how we managed to extend the frontier all the way to the West, and the terrible things we did to the Native Americans. We sort of rationalized to ourselves. At a certain point, we lost interest in that. And what we did was take our concerns with the past and I think threw them into the future, and what we threw them into was the space opera or the sci-fi film. And so now we look into something that feels like the future, even though this happened a long time ago, in a galaxy far away. It still feels like a future to us. So we tend to look at our past as reflected in these films.
Okay, let's take a look at the third part of the series that Kevin Strong and I put together on Star Wars. This looks at kind of what's going to happen tonight and in the next couple weeks. How is it going to play in Rochester? Take a look.